So only the USA has more obese children than Scotland per head of population. Yes, that's true.
That's right. Figures published last year that found 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 7 girls in Scotland were dangerously overweight. You're watching The Right Stuff. We're live on 5 with Dr. David Bull. Ooh, who is that? No! Who is that mystery girl?
Never you mind.
Amanda Lamb is here as well, and our special guest is Scott Capurro. Catch his live show, Scott Capurro's Position. It starts next month at London's Vauxhall Tavern. I have an important email as well. This is from Karen Cole. Don't know you're going to like this, Scott. Good morning. I'm the mother of 3 young children, and after watching Scott Capurro this morning, I feel I have to lodge a complaint. Why isn't he on The Right Stuff more often? I'm very thankful I kept up my pelvic floor exercises, because otherwise I'd be very uncomfortable. Nice one, Karen. Right. Right now, should fat kids be taken from their families and put into care? Dundee City Council has done just that, taking 2 overweight siblings, one 3, the other 4, away from the, well, frankly, ample bosom of their family and into a home. The council told 23-stone of mother, who's pregnant with child number 7, and 18-stone dad, this is what would happen if their 6 kids, all of whom are obese, didn't shed some weight. The kids in total range from 3 to 13. The eldest, the 13-year-old, weighs in at 16 stone. Now, it's a drastic step, of that there is no doubt. But to be fair to the council, it had already spent £114,000 trying to get this one family to cut out the burgers. They even moved them into special housing so they could be monitored and assisted at every corner. The council has concerns about mum and dad's parenting skills as well, because it says it would never remove a child from its family solely because of a weight issue. The family's solicitor, Katie Price, no, not that one. Katie Price is launching a legal challenge to get the children back, but it begs many questions. Is overfeeding your children a form of abuse? Is removing children from their families in this kind of situation the solution? I have to tell you, I'm worried the overweight are unfairly picked on these days. They are blamed for everything, and I don't think that helps matters. The more depressed you get, the more you're going to eat. Is taking fat kids away from their overweight parents necessary, David, in some situations? I
think it really has to be the last resort, but you've got to remember that what you've got to do, of paramount importance is the health and welfare of those children. I think in the council's defence, you know, what more can they do?
Absolutely.
You know, £100,000, putting them in as somewhere special. It is extraordinary, actually. But, you know, at the end of the day, and I feel very strongly about this, this is child abuse. These children are hideously overweight. They will get medical problems. They will get heart disease, shortness of breath, varicose veins, diabetes, you name it. And they will die early because of the amount of weight they're carrying. And we know that kids as young as 13 get fatty streaks in their arteries. So something's got to be done, unless you're going to say to these kids, you know, we're just going to let your parents carry on in the way they are. They need serious intervention, but I'm very nervous when you take kids away from their parents, because then, you know, they lose all that love and support.
If the children were being beaten by their parents, you wouldn't hesitate?
I wouldn't hesitate at all.
OK. And this is... Well, is it a form of abuse?
Well, this is the trouble, isn't it? And I'm really stuck, because I've been reading a lot of the reports that, you know, and one of the things that the mum says, you know, I miss my children, I miss holding them and cuddling them and telling them that and they're saying, can we come home with you, mummy? As a mum myself, I think that just must be heartbreaking. Yeah. But, on the other hand, I think, do you know what? If someone turned around to me and said, unless you sort your daughter's healthcare out, we will take her away.
And they then spent over 100 grand helping you.
I would do everything in my power to make sure that my children did lose the weight and that they weren't taken away from me. So there's part of me that wants to say to her, actually, and this is, you know, you need to get off your fat, lazy, and do something about it. I do feel sorry for her, but...
The other thing we don't know is how much they understand of what's going on.
Well, I was just about to say...
we're just scratching the surface.
The kind of weight problems that are here, the fact that so much money, effort and time has been invested in them with no results, I start to think, well, maybe there are, you know, other issues, psychological issues.
Where do you draw the line as well? Does that mean everyone with an obese child is now going to have that child taken into care?
No, because, you know, it's worth stressing. I think the fact that Dundee Council, I think they have bent over backwards to do the right thing. I think they've demonstrated that at every turn. And yet the family has continued to fail its own children. And at that point, maybe it is right to step in. Well, I just want to bring in Scotty, because you're from San Francisco, aren't you?
And your makeup woman told me I looked fat earlier, so...
Yeah, I think she was...
She did.
In San Francisco, there's a kind of backlash from the overweight, and I believe that the city has passed laws banning fatism. So that it would be... It's just that I'm just sort of mindful that we... Why are people so overweight today, and is it actually a reflection of psychological...
Well, I think in these people's problems, though, it might be generational, right? I mean, we don't know what these parents were like, and it might be a genetic disposition, or it might just be that they, see food as a different sort of... as a reward, right? And so they're rewarding their children. It's the way they show love. But I just think when you take kids away from their parents, it's really dangerous, isn't it?
Especially so, I mean, the two that they've taken, what I don't understand as well is why they haven't taken all of them. So they've only taken 2, haven't they? The 3 and the 4-year-olds. So why haven't they taken...
I guess because they're so young and they're most vulnerable, and they are talking about taking away the newborn child when that arrives, presumably to stop the situation arising in the first place.
I'm trying to work out what's more damaging, staying with parents that are feeding you to obesity or taking you away from your parents and putting you into foster home.
Last night on the train going to work, I saw a woman, she was feeding her child candy, chocolate bars, and Coca-Cola in a bottle. And the kid was maybe 3 or 4. And I just saw that there's diabetes. That's that kid's life pretty much over.
Exactly, and you don't know what they're feeding them here, and I assume there's a huge amount of ready meals going in here, huge fat, huge salt.
Or lack of education?
Or I mean, Scott said it's perhaps this is how they see them showing their love,
their affection,
and there's a psychological twist here, because I think if you spent £100,000 on most families with weight problems, I'd like to think you'd get a better result.
Particularly if you say you're going to take them away. I mean, you would do everything in your power to make
sure. Of course, the kids want to come home because they're addicted.
Well, yeah.
They're hungry.
Yeah.
Right?
You're a naughty man. Let's throw it open to you. Do you think Dundee Council's done the right thing? That's the question. Kirsty.
Michelle's on line 1.
Michelle, good morning.
Morning.
Has Dundee Council done the right thing?
Yes, absolutely. I feel that if I was feeding or starving, should I say, my children to a point that it was hurting their health or causing them, obviously, major problems, social services would come in without a second thought and snatch my children, take them. Sorry.
Good point.
Alternatively, if you were beating them, doing anything else that was harmful to those children, then they would come and do it. These people are systematically hurting their children. They have been offered so much help. There's obviously issues that aren't being dealt with. They obviously don't love their children enough to stop doing this to them. And they're taking the younger ones, obviously, because they haven't reached the stage of the children. They're older. But the older children, they're going to have to educate again from the beginning. And I feel that I don't think they've taken it lightly to take these children into care. And
I don't think they do. But Amanda did ask the question, what's the worst of the 2 evils here? Care, being away from the bosom of your family, with your love of your mum and dad, your brothers and sisters, or to be left in a family where you're being overfed. And I don't know which is the lesser of 2 evils. I know people that have been through care, and what they told me, I wouldn't want to be in care myself, but then again, I've not been in a family, such an obese family.
I feel that care is obviously the last resort, and your family is probably the better place to be, if it is a safe place to be. These children aren't being looked after. Obviously, there are other issues, there are educational issues, because if somebody was saying to me that I was doing something wrong and they were going to take my children, I would stop doing it.
But it's extraordinary, Michelle. I can remember when I had dogs and spaniels in nice condition, and a woman with a very fat spaniel, nice middle-class lady, presumably well-educated, came over and said, how do you get your dogs to look so lithe and thin? I said, because I don't overfeed them. Because fat dogs are produced by eating too much food. Dogs will eat all day long if you let them. It's about taking control, isn't it? Michelle, thank you. Let's have another.
Brenda's on line 2.
Brenda, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi there, Brenda. Has the council done the right thing?
I feel that it's a very difficult situation, and it'll be very difficult for the carers, because not only are these children being away from their parents, they're also being deprived of what they see as their regular food, which will have to be cut down drastically. And that looks as if it's a second punishment to
I'd like to think that we're talking about children aged 3 and 4, that it would be a relatively short-term hurdle you have to get over, that hopefully habits haven't been too firmly set, and I'm assuming that's why the council has gone for the 3 and 4-year-old, not the 13-year-old that clocks in at 16 stone.
Yes, we would hope so, but I would ask Dundee City Council as well that these children, seemingly from the lawyer's point of view, have come from a happy family, a happy family. I would ask them, where are the children of the drug addicts of Dundee who are not in a happy family? If they take all of them away, where will they place them? Because there would be nowhere for them to go.
Good point. Good point. It is the issue of the day, isn't it? It is weight. And I say again, I'm very mindful of fat bashing, for want of a better term. It seems to be the sort of theme, the theme so far of the noughties.
Yeah, and it also feels like, you know, maybe we should talk about parenting classes. Maybe people don't know. Maybe they need more education.
OK, we'll leave that there and move on to an intriguing story, because I knew nothing about these until the day before yesterday. Sex bands, would you let your children wear one? Each colour symbolises a different sexual act, kissing, full sex and everything in between.